Welcome back. Reach Out and Read equips young children for academic success by encouraging families to read together. Partnering with healthcare professionals, the organization leverages the unique relationship between parents and medical providers to foster essential early literacy skills. Executive Director of Reach Out and Read Greater New York, Emily Marchese, joins me to discuss this effort. Emily, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. What an honor.
Now, can you tell me, I gave a little bit of an overview, but can you tell us a little bit more about Reach Out and Read?
Absolutely. So we partner with over 230 hospitals and clinics all throughout New York City to train pediatricians on early literacy and anticipatory guidance so that at every well child visit from 6 months to 5 years old, which is about 10 appointments in general, they are coaching the parents on how to read to their child every night. And then they're also getting from us a new developmentally appropriate, linguistically appropriate book so that by the time the child turns 5, they'll have at least 10 books in their home library.
Now, I'm curious to know what are some of the type of books, the children will see. I mean, how are these selections made?
Yes, so everything that we do is community led and driven. So our medical professionals and our community members tell us the kinds of books that they would like us to buy, and then we listen to that. So we have formed a book buying buddies coalition so that we can purchase a high volume of diverse books for our sites. And the number one request that we get from our community members, from our medical professionals, is for bilingual books in English, Spanish as number one, but then also in all the other languages reflected in New York City, which is probably all of them. So we've worked really hard. We now offer bilingual books in 9 different languages. And last year, half of the books that we purchased were bilingual as a direct response to what the community was asking us for.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, can you explain how the program measures the impact of reading on, a child's literacy development over time?
Absolutely. So our big sister national organization has done 20 different independent research studies evaluating all the different components of the program. And what the independent research studies have found is that parents are 2 times more likely to read to their child every night when they go through the Reach Out and Read program. They're 2.5 times more likely to read to their child 3 or more nights a week, and 2 times more likely to enjoy the process of reading to their child. And then children have, on average, a 3 to 6 month language advantage going through the program. They're also more likely to develop a strong receptive and expressive speech when they go through the program. And then even the pediatricians who participate in the program, the studies have shown that they're less likely to report burnout and more likely to report job satisfaction as a result.
Now, I'm curious to, explore a little bit more about, just reading to your child at night. When I think about it, I think of something that, people did long time ago. With all the distractions that we have regarding technology today, can you talk about the importance of actually having that moment with your child or, a child with their parent to actually just read?
It's so centrally important. There are so many distractions, but there's also a ton of research that shows that even just taking those few minutes, cuddling with your child, making eye contact, reading the pages together, laughing, it does a world of good for the parent and child bond in bringing those two closer together. We're actually, the American Association of Pediatrics has named Reach Out and Read as one of the only interventions that balances adverse childhood experiences. We're actually an antidote to those stressors in a child's life. We're a positive childhood experience. So taking that time, and I'm a single mom, I'm busy and tired like all of us are. I will tell you, like when my son was small, sometimes I would skip pages. It's allowed, but so I would say don't be worried about doing it imperfectly. Do it consistently, and it makes a world of difference to your child, but also to you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, can you also talk about, this idea that, a parent is a child's first teacher?
Absolutely. Parents are so central to the development of a child, and I think a lot of times we think that a child's educational journey doesn't start until they're in school, when actually the majority of early childhood brain development starts in the 0 to 3 age range. So you are your child's first teacher, and it's so centrally important that parents are engaged and empowered and have those resources and tools that they need in order to be successful. And so when they're going to the well child appointment, they're not just getting the necessary medical interventions, but they're also learning about the best ways to make reading fun. How do you ask your child questions about that are developmentally appropriate? So like, what color shirt are they wearing, or what emotion do you think they're feeling? All of these ways help support parents in what they're already doing such a great job of.
Now, what challenges does Reach Out and Read face in reaching families in predominantly low-income communities?
For us, it's always fundraising. We can go as far as we have the philanthropic dollars to provide books. So our goal, our big dream, is to meet 100% of book need, which means every child at every appointment gets a book, and they're getting these new, beautiful, developmentally appropriate, diverse books. Right now, we're reaching 39% of all little New Yorkers in the 0 to 5 age range, which is a huge accomplishment in our 25 years, but we want to get to 100.
Now that's amazing. And, I'm curious, I briefly brought up technology before, but I've seen, I don't have any children, but I've seen things where people will now have like apps where you could teach a child to read. And I'm curious to know what that experience is for your organization. Is that something that you guys look into, or would you prefer, the standard, open and closed type of book?
Yeah, I think there's no substitute for a parent or your caregiver reading to you and engaging with you in that way, holding you. We really try to emphasize that bond, especially in early childhood. And so there's so many wonderful educational apps and resources that are good to use, but there's no substitute for you as your child's first teacher reading to them.
Now, what feedback have clinicians provided about the impact of the program on their practices and patient relationships?
I mean, it's nothing short of transformational, especially as we've been able to provide more and more bilingual books. It has really changed and uplifted the bond between a clinician and a parent as a trusted messenger. And I think that if you put yourself in the shoes of someone who's recently immigrated to New York City and you only speak Bengali, when your doctor hands you a book that's in English Bengali, you feel as a parent respected and seen and now empowered. This is now much easier for you to read to your child every night because it's in a language that you're comfortable with. And that feeling of respect really transforms the relationship with the child's doctor. So if anything, it's been, green light, full steam ahead, please more diverse books.
Now, can you tell me a little bit more about the 35 for 35 initiative?
Yes, so this is a really exciting anniversary year celebration. Our national organization partnered with Scholastic to order 350,000 diverse books, and they split the cost of that for all of the affiliates. So Reach Out and Read of Greater New York was able to purchase 122,500 books from this initiative, over 30,000 of which went to the Bronx, here to 39 different hospitals and clinics. And it's a beautiful collection of diverse books in terms of family structures, main characters, really wonderful collection.
And, can you explain or just expand on how it relates to Reach Out and Read's overall mission, especially when we're talking about diversity? Over 35 years, I'm sure so much has changed and evolved in regard to that. So can you expand on that just a little bit further?
It's so important for children and families to have windows and doors in their community where they have access to reading books where the main characters look just like them, and that they also have access to books where the main characters or their families are different from them. That reflects the real world communities that we all live in. And so we're doing a great service to children when they have the ability to picture themselves as the main character in life. And it's really wonderful to see so many new titles like Nikki Giovanni's The Library, or Bathe the Cat, or Julian at the Wedding, that really celebrate these main characters in our lives.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the Book Buddies program?
We built this coalition. It was in the COVID times when fundraising was a real challenge, and we knew that when we order books at a high volume, we're able to activate bulk discount pricing. And so we got together with all of our New York City early literacy friends, the public libraries, Link, literacy partners. We all put our money into a pot, and we said we want to order 10 to 15 books for the 0 to 5 year old population, and we want all the books to be diverse. And together, we have this big pot of money that will activate discount pricing. And so we've been running that program for 3 years now. On average, we're able to get these beautiful, diverse books that retail for $8.99, $9.99. We're able to purchase them for $1.90 to $2.25, which is how we've been able to purchase books in English Bengali or English Chinese, which are typically much more expensive. So it's been a great way, not only for us as an organization, but for all the organizations that partner with us to have access to those books.
And I also want to talk about it from a societal standpoint. We've seen in places like here in the Bronx where we don't really have access to a lot of bookstores, or bookstores are, closing. Can you talk about, what impact that could have on future generations of children?
Yeah, we're really hopeful that this earns us a seat at the table, and when talking to publishers about the kind of books that we would like to purchase and see, and we are reflecting the families and the communities and what they would like to see and what they would like to read. So to really open the funnel to have more authors, illustrators, main characters that reflect diverse viewpoints, I think that's so critically important. And together as a coalition, I think we have a lot more power than each of us alone would have.
Now, how does the organization plan to expand its reach and influence in literacy development in the future?
Yes. So I mentioned that we're really proud that in our 25-year history, we're now up to 39% of New York City's 0 to 5 population. That's a huge achievement, but we're not stopping at 39%. So we'd love to get to, we're not right now working with the board to develop a 3-year strategic plan. We want to get to 50% in the next 3 years. And then we're also not going to stop at 50%. So what does the plan look like to get to 100%? And we really rely on our partners, our individual donors, our board members, foundations, and politicians as well to help support us getting there.
Now, I want to thank you. Just, with that being said, I'm somebody who grew up with a lot of books around me, so I know the importance of that. And it was huge in my family. So with that being said, I just want to thank you so much for joining us and, really having the discussion of the importance of reading, especially in a borough like the Bronx. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
To learn more about the 35 for 35 initiative, please visit the website reachoutandreadnyc.org. We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you miss any part of today's show, you can catch the Readable Cast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum Channel 67 and Verizon Fios Channel 33, or watch anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Darren Hymie on Wednesday and with Rena Valentine on Friday. I'm Kibin Alleyne, wishing you and yours safety and wellness now and always. See you next time.